Hey everybody, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host Josiah, aka Mauler67. And with me, as always, you know I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up?
Hey Austin.
I had the wrong chord and the wrong one.
Oh,
Uh,
I heard like a small feedback of my voice,
yeah,
and that's whenever it hit me. I was like, oh, I'm in the wrong
yeah. I have a soundbar like hooked up to my computer, so like when I play games by myself or like I'm watching something on my when I'm by myself, I just like don't have to wear the headphones so much.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Going to quickly update the next week's show because I forgot to do that
Ooh.
before, because we didn't like talk about what we were going to watch. We just jumped in. We're a little late getting going, but that's how life is.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm okay.
You okay? Not doing the best?
Yeah, a lot of stuff's been going on right now.
I understand. I heard about what happened to our aunt.
Yeah.
My dad told me, so
Yeah.
hoping for that. Everything is good. Won't go into that detail here, but
yeah.
as far as I know, is everything's okay. Just some life changes. What can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, speaking of life changes, bro, I'm sitting right now and I'm not in total pain.
Oh, that's good.
It's life changing, dude. People should do this more often. People should sit without having pain. Mama Burkhart's here. How you doing, Mama Burkhart? Good of you to show. Yeah, no, like I still feel like the pressure if I like sit a certain way, but like with me how I am now, kind of leaning back, kind of relaxing, it doesn't feel horrible. It feels pretty okay, and I'm okay with that. That is streets ahead of better than I thought. My leg was going to be a week ago. A week ago, I could not even sit in my chair. But now it's like I am able to. Straight ahead. Do we have an update about the Community movie? No? Okay.
No.
I mean, I'm sure they probably now started writing again since the writer's strike and the actor strike is kind of done.
What was it? Joel McHale was he was on like some red carpet thing. Oh, it was for like Lunchbox. That's like his new show he's in. And they asked him about that because the guy's a huge Community fan. He's like, well, we had to stop because of the SAG thing. And like, we're going to start filming. We've already wrote the movie. We just have to film it. And they're hoping it starts like June of next year.
Heck
so,
well, if it's Netflix is pretty quick on
it's Peacock.
film. It's Peacock even better.
Yeah,
it's screw
Peacock.
Netflix.
Speaking of what we watched this week,
speaking of Netflix, let's talk about a situation where if I personally talk, before we jump into it, I do want to say I got a projector in my room now. It's giving me hardcore nostalgia vibes from back whenever you used to live in the duplex and we would like go up to your room, chill, and just have like something on the projected on the wall, and we'd be playing like cards or whatever, and it's giving me hardcore vibes of that. But I have it set up next to my bed, above my bed on a table, pointed up, so when I'm laying down I can just look straight at the screen.
You should totally. So there is actually, I've bought like multiple projectors, and I just bought like a new one like recently, like a couple months ago, and there's a stand that you can buy on Amazon, and it's on sale on Black Friday for like $25.
Okay.
But all it is like it's flat, but then it also has like a device that makes it angle or whatever you want it to do. And it's just pretty much a table that holds the projector. But like it has been so much easier to like project things because then you don't have to find something to like put the projector on. You just set that up and you're like, bam, there you go. So it's kind of nice.
That's awesome. I'm not going to get that yet because my goal with this projector is I'm actually going to wall mount it above my bed whenever I'm done, so that way I can permanently have it up there. / I can unmount it whenever I want to and take it wherever I want. Because like I like my computer, like before my leg thing, I would always just turn my monitor and just do stuff. Since I got that projector, I'm like, I'm going to just have the projector up there. I got Roku stick for it and everything. I've
Oh
been
yeah.
watching Dropout. I rewatched all of Game Changer, Make Some Noise, and
Man.
Breaking News.
Oh
And
man.
I forget how freaking hilarious those shows are. And I forget
Oh
how
yeah.
good of an episode the escape room episode is.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
is
That's a
such an
solid episode.
amazing
I
episode. I
laughed
was
really hard when they
gleefully.
start breaking stuff.
Oh yeah, the second it's like, all right, ready, set, go. It is like,
What are you doing? It's it. This is how we get out.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
They start
no, it
kicking
was.
in the walls and everything. It's hilarious.
Oh man. Yeah, no, that's the thing lately. Like I've been like going back and watching movies and like TV shows that people have recommended, and I
Mm-hmm.
finally got around to watching them. I was like, oh, okay. So like recently I just watched Sands, no, not Sands. It's
Sands of the
Letters of
Hourglass.
no, no, it's Letters from Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Father, which are
Letters from
two.
Iwo Jima. That sounds familiar.
Well, you probably remember Sands of Iwo Jima, which was a John Wayne movie
That's it.
that
Mom
we
had
used to
that.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I actually just recently watched that because it is
I
available
never
on
I never
Paramount.
watched it. I never watched any John Wayne movies except for Big Jake and
Shootist.
The Shootist. Yep. Those are
Mhm.
the two.
Yeah,
'Cause
those
that-
are the two big ones.
Well,
Well,
those
and
are-
North to Alaska, I think you watched North
I
to
don't
Alaska.
remember that one.
Yeah, that's the one where John Wayne has to bring back this girl to his buddy that struck gold, and then he ends up like falling in love with her.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's a couple John Wayne movies that you have watched, but you probably just
Don't remember it.
them.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was. Where it's like, wait a minute, I've watched this before. I'm like, you know.
I
And
mean,
I've
also the fact that John Wayne was a straight up like racist.
Yeah, he's
homophobe.
a piece of shit person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be real sorry for the language, but he is.
Hey,
and-
it is what it is. Like, what can you do?
Yeah.
Like,
But you know, there is some funny parts of John Wayne that I love. Is just like John Wayne was casted. Trivia for anyone that doesn't know this, but John Wayne was casted as Genghis Khan for a Howard Hughes movie, and it is awful. And the movie was completely awful. And Howard Hughes destroyed almost every copy of that film because he hated it.
that sounds like Christopher Walken being casted as the like Chinese ping pong guy from Balls of Fury. Like the second you see him, you're like, this is obviously a joke, but don't know if this is too much of a not okay joke, you know?
Yeah, that and what's really weird about that movie is like when that movie was filmed, it was filmed on a nuclear testing ground in Nevada, and half the cast died of cancer because of the radiation. I think so.
Balls of Fury.
No. It's called The Conqueror with John Wayne.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're talking about.
But Balls of Fury is great. I love Dan Fogel. I think he's amazing. I wish he was in more stuff. And I know the recent thing that he did was like not Wizardly to Waverly's Places. It was the Harry Potter newer ones. I forget what those are called.
Mystical Beasts and How to Find Them.
Yeah,
or whatever it's called.
he was in that, and then he was in The Walking Dead, like the last 2 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
So like I was like, man, Dan Fogel's funny because I liked him in Fanboys, and of course Balls of Fury. I thought he was funny. But yeah, it's interesting. That's like I just was it. So back to what I was saying about the letters of Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Fathers. Iwo Jima is a battle that happened in World War II, and it's filmed on the side of the Japanese soldiers, what they were going through at the time that Iwo Jima was captured by the Americans. So the whole movie is like in Japanese. And so like it's very dark and gritty, and like these people are like, you know, thinking that like they have to kill themselves because they don't want to be captured by the Americans, because the Americans, you know, how imperial Japan was at that time, where like you die for your emperor, honor.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of prisoners of war on the American sides were not treated good either.
Oh yeah. So like that the first movie is all Japanese sides, and then the second movie you think is going to be the whole battle, but it's actually the story of the false flag art. I don't know if you've ever seen the art of like the flag being raised with a bunch of soldiers.
Oh yeah.
So that is Iwo Jima. So that actually, a lot of people don't know this, but like that picture is not the real picture. That was a picture that was given to the media about it. and the 4 people that are in it did not raise that flag. What it was you had 4 soldiers that did go raise that flag, and a politician came to Iwo Jima and loved the flag and was like, I want that flag. And at the time, Woodrow Wilson was like, yeah, go get the flag. So they went to go do it, and the platoon's like, no, that's our flag. Like, that is our flag. Our platoon deserves that flag. So what they did was they went up and redid the shot so that they could give that flag to that guy, so he didn't have the original flag.
Okay.
But when that happened, the original people that did the flag died in Iwo Jima, because Iwo Jima wasn't like, you know, like the picture that was taken was like 5 days into the battle, but the battle lasted 35 days.
Yeah.
So all those people that are in the original photo has died. So they paraded like these people in the second photo all around America to buy like war bonds and all this stuff. So the whole movie's about that. I've never watched it before. Everyone told me to watch it. They're like, you will like it. And then I was like, which one do I like more? And I actually like Letters from Iwo Jima better, because it's more like emotional, and like it's like having this task of like being stuck on this island, and like you're in battle constantly. And it was directed by Steven Spielberg. And then The Flags of Our Fathers was directed by Clint Eastwood. And I was like, that's why I like it. But I'm not really that huge of a Clint Eastwood fan. So, but yeah, okay. All the ranting. But yeah, I've been just rewatching stuff again. So, or watching things that people have told me about.
And all that good, amazing stuff. We have a hidden special guest sneaking in and appearing.
Good she's just grabbing paper. Now, my room is our office now. So awesome. She has her own desk, and she's been doing a bunch of Disney trips and Universal.
Disneyland.
Disneyland.
All right, cool.
All right.
Yeah. All right, Austin. No, that's all great. That's all good. I'm glad for the little history lesson. I thought that was cool. I think with that knowledge of all that stuff, Austin, you could become a cinephile. You are a cinephile. And
I am a cinephile.
With that, what that means is that you can write your own script.
Yeah.
And that script could be Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the Netflix show we watched this week. Man. That was a stupid transition, but whatever. I just needed to get there. Austin, what did you think of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off?
So, just like, this weekend I was at a cabin, and we
in the woods.
We were just pretty much cabin in the woods. But I was watching Scott Pilgrim, and after the first episode, I text you and I said, "Have you started Scott Pilgrim?" Mm-hmm. No, it was not the first episode. It was like the 5th episode, and I was like, "What is going on?" So I asked you if you watched it. You said, "Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes." It's like, oh, so he knows like what's going on. Mm-hmm. Because what we were thinking that was going to happen was this
what rendition. It was being sold as.
Yeah, it was this rendition adaptation of just a comic of the comic book. Like, because if people don't know this, is like the movie was made and not all the comic was perfected, and they couldn't do a lot of things that were in the comic because it's just way too much money, CGI, and all that crazy stuff. Yeah. So I totally understand. So I was like, oh man, we're gonna get a rendition. The first episode looked like it was going that way. Like it was going that way.
A 1-to-1 to the story of how it happened, with small alterations at the very end. And when those alterations happened, I remember watching it, and in the moment being like, oh, they're cutting them out. Oh, they're...
Yeah. Like when I started noticing, like when Crash and the Boys canceled, I was like, wait a minute, why? Why would you leave Crash and the Boys out?
That was the thing, and that I instantly went, oh, they're cutting out Crash and the Boys. And then I got confused because on the Crash and the Boys play a key role in the comic books later on. Like they help Scott fight, I think it's the twins. Yeah. And I'm like, are they going to cut out like half the twin fight? Like, I feel like that sucks. Like, this is going to be weird. And then they just straight up nerk Scott, and my brain like broke.
Like, I thought I was waiting for like the catch, like for a long time. I was like, what's going on? Okay, he's not dead. Of course he's not dead.
Oh yeah.
But
I thought
where
I
is he
thought
at? Is this like a different fighting like interpretation?
yeah, I thought what was going to happen was in the beginning of the second episode, we see the first of many scenes where Ramona is coloring her hair. Which, side note, absolutely love that detail.
Yeah,
Love that detail because that was something that was said in the movies. Like, yeah, I changed my hair a lot. What does it matter? Happens once, never changes again. In this, it's every episode almost, except for the last, I think, 2 episodes. She changes her hair every episode, and I love that because it's like her progressing as an individual, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I initially thought when she was going to change her hair that she was going to do something to resurrect Scott with the money that she took.
Yeah.
And so I thought she was going and then revive him with a 1-up. And then there was going to be like a training or building montage to make Scott kind of build up to being this great fighter versus just beating the crap out of all the exes from the get-go.
But boy, we were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong. We were wrong worse than Elon Musk's ability to buy good internet, you know?
Yeah.
It's rough. Like, we lost billions of dollars. And it was amazing because the first episode, 1-to-1, didn't think anything about it till the end, and then I was shocked. And I'm like, I have to watch the next episode. Watch the second episode, and sure enough, I was like still shocked. Like, I was like, but they're going to bring Scott back, right?
Yeah, like the whole time, like the funeral, I was like, oh, they're gonna find out that someone like,
oh my
did
gosh, that
something
funeral,
to him or
man.
he hit or something like that. The funeral was rough.
When
Because Ebony Adams.
So like whenever Knives came out and started yelling at Ramona and blaming him, I'm kind of like, he's kind of right. But like Ramona, the one thing I'll say about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is they did a really good job of fixing up Scott's moral dilemmas that a lot of people hate, and then also fixing Ramona's character and building on the issues of Ramona and Scott. And one of the things that someone said, I watched like a TikTok where someone was talking about it, and I kind of agree with it. And it's like the people who are upset about this show are younger people or like mid-aged people who just want Scott's story, beat him up. They want cool fights, right? The people who will like this show a lot are the emotionally mature and mentally mature people.
Yeah.
Because they're going to like enjoy and like the story of Ramona dealing with her past and essentially like being emotionally mature about it versus being toxic like she is in the movies and the comic books. Because it's very like, I describe it as the books and the movie are very murder hobo. It's just don't ask questions, kill them, next, kill them, next, kill them, next, get the girl, doom. That's what the books and the movies are. There's no like huge character arcs in it. It's very like old-fashioned beat 'em up style game story. This one is more like current era storytelling game, and I appreciated that a lot. I liked it a lot, and it took me a second to realize that's what was happening. And I also had my roommate Blake also watched it too. I gave him my account so he could watch it too, and he said the exact same thing I was thinking about at episode 4. And that's why I like what they're doing. I'm sad I don't see Scott. Like I want Scott. I feel like I'm losing out on Scott Pilgrim. You know the one thing I really like about the show, Austin?
What's that?
The meta narratives that they do out through the whole show. There's so many little hints and little things they do. Like Austin, you know what Scott talked to Ramona about?
Sonic.
What specifically about the Sonic?
It was actually about, if I'm correct, it was about the 2 shows that were in the 90s. And I actually talked to, this is actually a really funny story about that. I didn't know that there was 2 Sonics. I knew that there was one, and the one that we watched was the
dark
one. It was the dark one. The other one was like Sonic being chili dogs and like being like,
you know what's funny? I didn't know that either. Like, I knew about it later because my friend Smokey's a big fan of Sonic and he explained that to me. But when I was little, I would be so confused watching it and being like, one episode was like all lighthearted, like chili dogs, and then the next one is like Sonic's grandpa being turned into like an evil Sonic
robot
machine and trying to kill Sonic. And I just remember being like,
touch the ring, grandpa.
Why did I not like Sonic so much?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why I was being emotionally whiplashed between these two shows. And then it makes so much more sense once you hear the joke in this, where it's like, they were two different shows, same voice actor for Sonic in both of them. So as kids, we could not tell. We could not tell at all.
It was Urkel. Urkel did both of them.
But you get that meta narrative in this show, Austin, right?
Yeah.
Because you have all these characters playing the same character, but two completely different styles.
Yeah.
One is very like comedic, and then the other one is very like, it's still comedic, but it's more emotional based. And I'm like, after watching it, I'm like, that's a meta joke that they put in really quick. And you know the other meta joke that I was talking with Blake about and he didn't realize until I mentioned it? He's like, yeah, I don't know, like, they like lied about Scott. I'm like, no, they didn't. They told you from the second. Scott Pilgrim's taken off. Yeah. He takes off the day. Like, he doesn't show up for work. Yeah. He's not showing up. He's taken off. And I laughed, and he laughed when he realized that. And I'm like, they knew what they were doing. They knew it 110%.
Yeah, they did.
Even whenever it came to them, like saying like Scott Pilgrim, they don't say Scott Pilgrim, the comic book, or like this, or they say based off of the comics, not adaptation.
Yeah.
So from the get-go, they had complete liberty to change everything. And that made me laugh. There's also a couple of other things throughout the show that I'm like, but I do want you to talk more because I feel like
there was a lot of Easter eggs too in the show that
there was a lot
pointed out completely. I remember
you point out a handful to me and I appreciate it.
Yeah, because like the other thing is like one of the best ones that I really enjoyed actually was the last episode title scroll. The title scroll was in the lettering of Clash of Demon Head.
Yep.
The video game, and like I was like, hey, there it is, you know, because like
that title scroll is burned into my brain because we had Mario in that growing up.
Yeah.
And once you play Mario for so long, you get kind of bored because you're a little kid. You're not good at Mario at layer levels unless you know all the like teleportation ones. But Clash of Demon Head, you're even worse at. Yeah. And so you would die all the time and you would still see that opening screen and then the stupid like comic book silhouettes that they would do, like
and the crabs and the beach and everything.
The little like emerald area with the little skull dude who would go oh man.
That they made there was a lot of great like guest actors in in the show. And like I got to give a shout out to Trevor Wilson, who's on Letterkenny. He was the bartender,
which I did not catch. You mentioned that he was on there, and I instantly knew who he was.
Yeah, you're like, is it the guy that plays this dude? And I was like, yeah, he's the bartender. Yeah.
And then that was the thing I realized with the show is that any character that had multiple lines that was part of the set was a guest star. Yeah, because you had Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as the security guard members. And whenever they started talking, my brain instantly went like, they sound familiar. And then sure enough, title crawl, Nick Frost. Yeah. I was like, and
then we had Weird Al. Weird Al
was in the documentary.
He was he's the narrator in the documentary, which right when he started speaking, I was like, that sounds like Weird Al. I didn't catch it the second he started talking. Because I'm a huge Weird Al fan, so I was like, that's Weird Al Yankovic. UHF is still one of my favorite movies of all time with him. But then
Finn Wolfhard is Teen Scott from the flashback with him and Kim. And I recognized him instantly because I heard his voice and I'm just like, I've heard you since you were a little kid. I know your voice.
Will Forte.
Will Forte, was old
so
Scott.
Excited to see him. I love Will Forte so much. He's so good.
When he started talking, my brain went like, I know this guy. I know who this is. And I could not put it to. And then whenever the title scroll came out, I quickly searched it and I was like, I know who exactly that guy is. He's one of those people that I see and I hear, but I never think of like, like I don't envision him as a person.
Yeah, well, you know, how he got his start mostly was just writing TV shows, and then he became an actor himself. So
Yeah.
like that's why, you know,
He's
he
MacGruber.
is.
That's the only thing I
Yep.
really remember him from. Is
Well,
MacGruber.
Last Man on Earth.
Oh, I've
which
never watched that, unfortunately.
I think you watched one episode with me because it does have Kristen Shaw in it. That was her big role, like when she first hit the scene. It was Kristen Shaw.
Oh, he is Kristen Shaw. Yeah, you're right.
He wrote Third Rock from the Sun, which is like one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. But he's done so many movies. Like I don't remember some of them because I forget about it, but MacGruber is like one of them that everyone knows.
He apparently was in Gravity Falls, but I forget who he was in Gravity Falls.
He plays oh shoot, because I brought him up before. It's is he no, he's not the prospector. I don't remember.
I'm looking up. He is Tyler Cute Biker.
Oh.
Tyler Cute Biker.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's her boyfriend's friend. It's her boyfriend's friend.
Oh no, he's the old guy who's always like, yeah,
that's right. What it is.
No
yeah, because
wonder.
TJ Miller is the boyfriend of the girl.
Oh, I didn't know that was him. Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, Will Forte's been in everything. He's always in everything. He was also big in Saturday Night Live. That was one of his big things for a while. Him and Jimmy Fallon, a whole bunch of them.
Yep.
But it was interesting to see some of the people that they brought in to do special guests. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. They got a handful of people. They even got Metric to come back, which even like me and Blake both agreed whenever we were talking about it, that it's like it was good for them to bring back Metric for it.
Well, and Anamanaguchi too.
That like I was exactly about to say.
Like,
that's
perfect.
I'm a Gucci. Whatever. I always say their name wrong. They're the final boss fight with Scott. The second the song started playing, my brain went.
Well, that and the title screen too.
Yeah.
So it was so awesome to see that, because that was one of the things I was like, I hope they do that. I hope so much that they do that. And everyone else was in this too.
Yeah, all like the original cast, which I really enjoyed the fact they brought back all the original cast. Outside of... Oh, wait, no, I think everyone did come back. Because I thought for a second that Matthew Patel was different, but then I looked up and it's like, no, he's the same person.
The only one I thought was different was young Neil. And
he's the same. He's the same.
Okay, he is the same. Okay.
Which blew my mind because young Neil in this show had a little more of a role than the movie. But yeah, I liked everything they did. I thought all the music was good. It was solid. I liked the rock bands that they got. Also, I started tearing up, man. At the end there, whenever Ramona and Scott gets together and they play the song "I Liked You for 1,000 Years," which is from the original movie soundtrack, hit a nostalgia. It hit a nostalgia hit on me, and I never thought it would, because like when I first got my job at BNY, I bought an MP3 player and I didn't know a lot. Like I'm not very good with bands, like what the style I liked, and for the longest time my brain was like, I like Scott Pilgrim's band style of music. So I purposely looked up Scott Pilgrim's soundtrack and put all those songs on there. And there was a lot of songs that fit that beat. There was all the other songs that didn't, right? And it's kind of like garage grung. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a very hard thing to describe. It's like garage band. But that song was one of them. And at first I didn't like that song. I was like, it's stupid. It's just the same lyrics over and over and over again. But then, after listening to the soundtrack for like 4 weeks repeated, I like the song. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good song. It's pretty stellar. And sure enough, when that hit, I just suddenly got nostalgic, and I was amazed. Man. Okay, Austin. Outside of the music, outside of all that stuff, Austin, we gotta talk about the actual show itself.
Well, do you there's one person I want to mention. So Lucas Lee's agent. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, so she was actually in Barry, but she was also in a show that me and you love on Netflix, and it is Sandman. Actually, she's in Sandman.
Oh, is she What's his butler's name?
Nope, not
Damn,
that.
not her.
Think about it. Think about character in the show. A woman character, a big woman character in the show.
I don't know.
I can hear the sound of her wings. Let's see if you remember. Yeah, she plays Death.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
That's Kirby. I think that's what her name is.
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, she plays Death. Yeah. I forgot all about that. Yeah. So she's in there too. When I heard her voice too, I was like, she sounds really familiar. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kirby. Yeah. Man, I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. I feel like a lot of the people that they got as like some of the extras were already on set for another show or whatever, and then just pulled them. Kind of like how I felt that Space Force had like a lot of cameo spots for like one-off scenes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, they were just like, oh, this person's only here because they're on this show or that show, and it makes sense. And it's like, heck yeah. Oh man, the funny thing is, I was talking with Blake about the voice acting. I'm like, everyone did a fantastic job in the show. The only person I gave a little slack for their voice acting was Chris Evans, because I felt he was really like gritty. And then as I was talking with Blake, I'm like, but the one thing I will say is that he evolved. Like when he first starts talking, he's like, whatever, I'm just here, whatever, party dude. Like it's very like basic. But then like after his character has arc, his voice acting changes.
Oh yeah.
And he becomes much more common and like simple. And then you know what I realized? All the voice actors were like that.
Yeah.
Every single person talked like their old self from the movie. But then when they had the like growing up or evolution of their character, they talked normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that must be a voice acting choice.
Must be.
Because like Gideon was one of those people, like whenever Gideon's first talk, he's like all the time, he's like, Gideon Graves, this, and this. And then after that, he's like, I'm Goose. I'm just this. And it's like, he doesn't sound like what he did. And then like Matthew Patel, when he first said, he's like, I'm Matthew Patel. And then by the end of it, he's just like, I just really want to be an actor. And it's noticeable. And I'm like, that has to be a voice acting decision of them being like, talk exactly how you did in the movie, like replicate it. And then by the end of it, come into your own to show the character growth. And I like to believe that that was a voice acting decision, because it explains the character change in like the voices. I think the only person who doesn't change is young Neil, and that's just whatever, right? It's young Neil
because he's young Neil.
I also love the fact that in the future he's known as old young Neil. That made me laugh.
So, an episode I really enjoyed, and I think it's the best episode of the season.
Okay.
The one that it stuck out the most, and I laughed so hard, was the episode when Todd, Brandon Routh, falls in love with Wallace. That is hilarious. I didn't expect that to go the way it thought it was. And it just kept going and kept going. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I laughed so hard because I didn't expect it to keep going as long as it did.
To the extreme.
Then, it got really to a point where I was like kind of a little uncomfortable there. I was like, all right, we're done. You know, we get the joke. Why you keep going?
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
When me and Blake talk, he watches a lot of like, I would say he watches more conservative stuff than me. Like I'm much more left side liberal minded. And so a lot of the changes they made to the show, I actually favored and liked much more than the original, because when you look at everything, Scott's a piece of trash, Ramona's a piece of trash, and Ramona caused a lot of issues to these people that never was fixed. This redeems her, and a lot of people were like, oh, they tried to make it very like liberal and like anti-man or whatever.
Woke.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. And one of the things he brings up is he's like, they just kind of make everyone gay. And I kind of stopped it. I'm like, you do realize they only changed one person's sexuality in the show, right? And I'm like, and that was only Todd.
Yeah.
Todd was the only one who wasn't straight, who was straight that they changed. He's like, well, they did the whole thing with Kim. I'm like, Kim kisses Knives at the end of the thing to show, and they become an item because she's bi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to do that because Knives is 17. She was in just as much crap that Scott was for dating her. So they didn't want it to end with them two getting together because that would still be weird.
Yeah.
So they put that on the things like Kim is still bi or gay, like whatever you want to call it. Like she's still who she is, but we're showing it in a different light that she is open to that. And I'm like, they actually like they didn't change anyone's sexuality except for one person. And I'm like, the idea that they made everyone gay doesn't hold up. He's like, well, they also like punish all straight people. Like all the straight people got bad things happen to them. And then that's when I realized from talking to him, like, how far are you in this? He's like, about like 5 episodes in. I'm like, bro, you gotta finish it. Because I was about to like say a lot of spoilers that didn't make sense. And then he finished it. And he's like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like it changed later on.
Yeah.
And he appreciated that. And like, because I was going to bring up like Gideon and Julia get together. They got what they wanted and they got it back. And now they're possibly becoming their villains, but we don't know if that's a joke or whatnot, right?
Maybe.
And then Lucas Lee, like, oh, he lost his acting career, but he also became this super amazing barista. And he found like a calling for himself, which is a little better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I think the people who have issues with this show has done one of two things. Mm-hmm. They either one has only ever watched the movie, and never read the books, because in the movies, none of this is hit. Like you wouldn't know that Styles. Oh, Molly, don't do that. You wouldn't know that Styles and Wallace like have a fling at one point.
Yeah.
Or like Kim and Knives, or like you wouldn't know of all these like little things if you didn't read the book where that became a thing.
Yeah.
But if you watch the movie, your brain would be like, why is Styles?
This doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then the other thing I think the other people who didn't like about it is that they don't like change to their medium, right?
Yeah.
And that's a thing with like a lot of people, right? When we're watching House of Dragon, there's a side of me that wants 100% like one-to-one representation between what the book says happens and what happens in the House of Dragons. But they're going to change House of Dragons. They're going to make it different because it's an adaptation. It's not a one-to-one.
Well, take for example, Sandman's the same way. Like,
yes,
Sandman
exactly.
is, there was a lot of, a different time period. So you had to like shape things up to like a certain time period and like have certain things. And like people got upset over like some of the changes that they did. And I was like, no, that makes sense why they did it this way. Like one of the biggest ones is the Constantine. I would love to see John Constantine.
Yeah, they cut out the Constantines,
But just probably the money that Netflix would had to pay DC or Warner Brothers for the likeness of John Constantine would have
through the roof
cost a lot of money,
especially during this era of like comic books and everything. They would milk them for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't have a problem with this at all. I came in with an open mind. A lot of people. I read the IENG review like right before I watched it, and like one guy comments that I just finished it. Go in with an open mind. If you're a fan of the books and you're a fan of the movie, you'll probably like it. And then like all these other people's like, oh, it's terrible. And I'm like, oh, why? And then they're like, oh, well, it wasn't like a true adaptation. I was like, it never came off as a true adaptation. Yeah. That's what they sold it as, so people would probably watch it. But I said, overall, I think this really...
I don't even think they sold it as that. Like, that's the thing, right?
The trailer was a little,
No. Okay. If we want to talk about misleading trailers, we can talk about...
It's just the trailer. There was
stuff.
No audio. And, like, the scenes that we were seeing were the only scenes from, like, the movie or it was from the comic book. And I was like, okay, whatever. But what came off as why I like this so much is they dabbled in something they talked about in the comic book and the movie was the multiverse, when it's just a throwaway line. And someone thought, why don't we make a multiverse movie? And it's funny because everything that's been going on recently has been a multiverse thing with every comic book. So I like the little just like jab at those big studios a little bit that they do. They're like,
What's
"Yeah,
also funny to
multiverse."
me is that it's not even a multiverse movie. It's a time traveling movie.
Yeah.
Because they legitimately explain, like, yes, like there has to be multiple dimensions,
Yeah.
but they're essentially dealing with only their future selves and their past selves. It's not like multiple Scotts from different dimensions. It was like, this is me from the future, this is you from the future. Oh no. And I am sorry that Molly is just really wanting me to pet her, and no matter how much I pet her right now, she is not satisfied. I don't know why. She's just very much in the mood for me petting her.
Very aggressive.
And
for
she is blocking the camera from me.
I just feel like this was it was great. I had no problems with this. I think they did a great job. Now, if they would have came in and phoned it home a little bit, like, I think I wouldn't have liked it as much, but I think that they went through a solid story and they took their time on this to make it that it was like, okay, this isn't the same old story that we're going to tell you that you already know. Let's put in a little bit of detail. And they went into, like, different things. Like, we didn't have a lot of character development with Lucas Lee in the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. In
the movie.
I was about to be like, how dare you?
In the comic book, yeah, but like,
you know what's funny? Whenever we used to play the Scott Pilgrim game, I remember saying that, I'm like, man, I love this game. I wish they would add more. And I'm like, it would be cool if they made like an alternate version where you're fighting Scott, and it's Scott and all of his like redone evil X's with him being like the leader of the evil X's, and you essentially have to defeat him. And I'm like, and it would be cool if you got to play as the X's from the first game. Yeah. They 100% could do this with that. And as I was like watching this, my first instinct is like, I would love it if they said that they're going to release a DLC for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, where it is a alternate game where you play as Ramona and like the people from here, and it's kind of like Pokemon, where after you beat each of the bosses, you unlock them as characters. Oh. Because
I would thoroughly enjoy to play as Chris Evans as Lucas Lee, because watching the anime of just how crazy the whole paparazzi like fight was with him.
That's also a reference
so
to the game.
Fun.
Like all the paparazzi ninjas in the game. Oh.
Yeah, it was great.
I
saw the ninjas first pop up, I was like, "Hey, there it is, the reference!" Like, I was like, "Yeah, it's back."
Yeah, there's also a reference to the director from the game when he yells at you after like you breaking the set, and then he gets all tired out and walks off. That happens in the show.
Funny. What was really funny is like them, Edgar Wright making fun of himself. I thought that was great when they were doing the documentary. Is Edgar wrong?
Oh, there was another person that I found out was a guess, and my brain went, holy crap. And that's the person who played Wallace.
I don't know.
Okay, I have to look it up real quick, because I look after the thing, I was like, hold up, who is this?
Well, the guy that plays the director, I've heard him so many times, and I've seen him in movies, and I know what he looks like, but I don't know his name and what movie I remember him from. I seriously don't know. I actually should look that up to see who it was, just because I wanted to know. Okay, so it's Kevin McDonald, and what do I know him from? There was something. Oh, it was Galaxy Quest. He's in Galaxy Quest. He's the announcer at the Galaxy when the ship crashes.
Oh, him. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like if you see him, you'll know who he is. You're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Like, I've seen him and stuff. I'm trying to think what else I saw him in that I thought was funny. I forget what it was, but he's been in a lot of stuff. It looks like a lot of stuff. I just don't remember. Oh man. Phineas and Ferb. Look at all this stuff he's got. Day Before Daylight or Dawn. He was in VeggieTales multiple times. Wow. Well, that's interesting. Everyone probably knows him from Sky.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Austin, you ever watch The Tick?
Yes.
Okay, I know this guy from something else, but I can't remember. It's Griffin Newman. What else is he from? I know him from something, but I can't remember.
His name's
Where is-
Griffin what?
Griffin Newman.
Newman.
He's
Griffin
in The Tick. Oh, he's in. Oh no, that's the movie Disenchantment.
Well, that's the newer, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've seen
he's
him
from
before.
Hello from the Magic Tavern.
I don't know who he is from Hello.
He's Dr. Archibald N. Sane. It was from the newer podcast. He was in that one.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think what else he was in. I've seen this guy before too. I've seen him. Well, he was in that, but
Oh, well.
that was-
Yeah, no, yeah, Stephen Root blew my mind. But yeah, like
now I'm kind of like thinking, like, what have I seen this guy in? I don't remember.
yeah, I've seen him in something, and I was like, I recognize that person. I can't remember who he is.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, but no, like the story itself, I think is really well done. There was a lot of references that I loved, like the whole like VR is in the future. Whoa, and then it opens up and it's just a virtual boy. I also love the fact that Wallace is like, yeah, I'm dating someone from, like, my husband is from Nintendo. I was like, oh, do you get all the games for free? It's like, he does. And it's like, I knew it. He's like, I do not get all the games for free.
I did not get all.
I laughed so hard at that because that is the number one nerd thing that everyone thinks about whenever we were little growing up, was like, if you worked at Nintendo, you get everything for free. Oh man, the show was so great. I could keep talking about it because there's a lot of things like in each episode. I feel like I felt like all the evil exes had like a lot of character development outside of the twins. Like the twins got nothing, but they could care less apparently by the end of it. Like they were like, whatever, like we're cool in the future, we're good. The realization that a robot can be vegan is the dumbest thing in the world to me, but it makes sense for Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, it does make total sense for Scott Pilgrim anytime.
Yeah, the show was good.
Yeah, it was banger. I wasn't expecting, like a full crazy thing that happened.
Yeah, I wasn't
expecting
expecting a
all that,
whole like I seriously thought it was going to be an adaptation, like not an adaptation, a retelling. Yeah. And it shocked me at first, and then it made me fall in love with it. And I was like, you know what? I like this so much more because of that. I know not everyone's going to agree with me. Some people will fight that, but hey, whatever. Like, we can have different opinions. All I can say is that Netflix got me to buy a subscription just for this. So that's going to look great on their end. Like, they're going to be like, freaking, hey, people bought subscriptions for this. It's like, yeah, I wanted to watch this. That's why I got this.
Yep.
And now, like, after we finish up the last ones, I'm going to cancel and not re-up on Netflix for a while because I just don't want to give Netflix more money.
I'm with you, but man, we're gonna have to do this again because there is a show that I've been wanting.
There's multiple shows. Like,
there's a really a show that I've been wanting you to watch, and I think that actually that's gonna be canceled this season.
That's possible.
But because speaking of cancellation ending. So next week.
Oh yeah. Speaking of it, next week we're watching Disenchantment season 5 as we still have Netflix.
It's the last chapter.
The last chapter where we get to see what happens with I want to say Fiona. It's not Fiona.
Bean.
Bean and Elfo.
Lucy, Elfo.
We get to see how it ends.
Mop
and
Girl.
I'm excited for it.
King Zog.
The mermaid. I forget the mermaid's name.
Nora?
I don't know. I've only watched the season once, and then I haven't watched it again. So I know what I'm going to be watching for the next couple days with my new projector.
Whoa!
I'll be honest. I've been watching a lot of Hell's Kitchen. I am almost up to date with Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen or Kitchen Nightmares?
Kitchen Nightmare. I don't like Hell's Kitchen. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
I like him going in to save people and like having the little documentary of him trying to save
if you're caught up, are you going to start the new one?
The new one? I'm going to try. Why not?
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Yeah,
which
that's
I'm
where
guessing
I'm
you're
watching
watching Kitchen Nightmares on Hulu. Yeah. some places have like, what's weird about Kitchen Nightmares is because it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's also on like all these different platforms.
There's no reason why it shouldn't just be everywhere at this point.
Now no, because the people that do make it is called Filmrise. They have their own streaming service, and they are the only exclusive ones that have the uncensored version of those.
Well, no, because the Kitchen Nightmare I'm watching is completely uncensored.
Oh, really? Because
or a couple of the seasons are that's
probably because
like,
they start bleeping them out. But Filmrise just was like, nope, uncensored completely.
That doesn't bother me. I don't care.
Did you get to Amy's Bakery yet?
No, that's season 5. I'm on season 4 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I saw that one. I just finished the episode with Charlie's, I think is what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. No, funny thing is you mentioned about them all being on YouTube. I know. After every episode, as I'm watching it, I will load it up on YouTube just to read comments. Yep. Because I'm like, that's the one thing streaming services are missing is a comment section for the videos. Yeah. So people can communicate. Because that would make me enjoy much more of like, I would love to look at the comments for Scott Pilgrim and like see people liking or hating it or everything like that.
Well, that's why I like Reddit has like its own community about people that did go through the Kitchen Nightmare thing, and then they talk about what happened.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they're like, is it all an act? And he's like, no, he's like, there is TV action and drama. He's like,
for
sure. In reality, he is really, really heartful on like, his heart is full about trying to fix this kitchen that is, you know, this restaurant that's going down. So I was like, that's cool, you know. A lot of people were like, he's really respectful. Some of the stuff is just for show, but he's a really nice guy. And I was like, yeah, everyone's told me that about when he did Hell's Kitchen. You know, everyone's like, yeah, he's not that bad of a guy. Like, it's like, no, he's not. Of course not. I
think it will be. I'll enjoy it. But yeah, so next week we're watching Disenchantment season 5. Awesome. I appreciate you joining me on this. This is a show that I could continue to talk about, and I'll definitely rewatch it just to catch more of those little hidden like references and jokes the whole time. So anyways, Austin, thank you so much for joining me on this season or this episode, and thank you all so much for tuning in and stopping by. And until then, we will see you guys next time. Bye.